All right. Are we live? Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome as you're joining in on Facebook and tuning in. My name's Lakshmi. I'm a community organizer with Hoosier Action. And we're going live today on Facebook with some of our member leaders here at Hoosier Action and with all of you who are watching. We would love to hear from you in the comments, like where are you from, what's your name? And throughout the call, we'd love to hear from you about what you have to say. So keep putting stuff in the comments. So this week, Hoosier Action, we, along with our member leaders here and many, many other people, are launching our legislative work in the 2021 legislative session as everyday Hoosiers who are lobbying for things that we care about together. And our state elected officials will come together in our capital from now until the end of April to pass legislation and make lots and lots of decisions about our state budget, where $30 billion of our money should go. And we really need everyday Hoosiers from all across the state to join us and make sure that our legislators get to hear from us and that they're putting our lives and what we care about at the center of their decision making, rather than the interests of big out-of-state corporations. So that's what we're here for, and we're super excited to launch that today. A little bit about Hoosier Action, and then we'll dive right into it. So Hoosier Action is an independent, statewide, member-led organization that is committed to building the power of everyday people in our state and making life better for working families. We are primarily centered in small town and rural Indiana, but we have members in all 50 state Senate districts who are fighting for issues that they really care about that impact their lives and communities and loved ones, from healthcare to cleanup of toxic sites that are affecting people, and to substance use and many, many other things. So today, our member leaders here are going to share a little bit about what they're experiencing and what they really want from the legislative session this year, what they want our electeds to prioritize. And basically, we're gonna start off with some stories that we'll hear from folks here. And we wanna, throughout this call, again, we wanna hear from you all and what you're experiencing if you're watching this. And we'll have folks in the comments responding to you, and maybe we'll get to read some out loud. And there'll also be a bunch of links that are dropped for you to take action with us and for you to join us. So without further ado, let's get it started. So we're gonna go around and introduce ourselves a little bit and talk about what we really care about. And if you wanna answer this in the comments, that would be awesome too. So let's go around, say our name, our location, and one sentence about what do you want your legislators to know? What do you want them to prioritize this session? And Tyla, do you wanna start us off?
Yes, sure. My name is Tyler Pond. I think what I care about is a healthy environment for families and communities, be able to raise families and knowing that you're safe, and let us legislative know that we're here and we care and we're not going anywhere.
And where are you calling in from, Tyla?
Oh yeah, Franklin, Indiana.
And then April.
I am April from Martinsville, Indiana, and I am here. I really care about the healthcare, childcare, mental health, all of that, and of course, a safe environment for my children to grow up in.
Joe?
Hi, my name's Joe Bradley. I'm calling in from my workplace in Jeffersonville, Indiana, Clark Memorial Health. And I want the legislature to know that Hoosiers really need, everyday Hoosiers need health care. There's a lot of people that fall through the cracks. And so we really need to help about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Taylor?
Hi, my name is Taylor Gibson. I'm calling from Dyer, Indiana, and I think what is important about this legislative session is mental health care, healthcare in general, and substance abuse programs, as opposed to criminalizing drugs and the people who do them and criminalizing mental illness. Thank you.
Thank you. Eva, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Eva. I'm also a community organizer with Hoosier Action, and I'm calling in from Unionville. And I want my legislators to prioritize families. I'm a mom of 3, and I want to see a future where families are thriving and families aren't falling through the cracks.
And again, I'm Lakshmi. I'm calling in from Carmel, and I just graduated pretty recently, and I want to see an Indiana where young people like me can really see a future for ourselves and make a future for ourselves. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Eva, and she's going to take us to the next section.
Awesome, thank you. So for those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, we really want you to interact with us. Put yourself in the chat. We want to hear from you. Our chat leaders will be dropping links in for you guys to sign on to jump onto. We want to hear from you. If it resonates with you, we want to hear it. If you've got a story, we want to hear it from you. So just wanted to flag that out. We want to hear from you. So we're going to start with, I'm going to open us up with first Tyla and Taylor. And I wanted to ask you guys, what is the lived experience that you're bringing to the 2021 legislative session?
So I'll go first. Hi, Tyler Pond, from Franklin, Indiana, like I said. So I think what's important to know about me and my lived experience would be, in 2018, I ended up in a medically induced coma from heart failure and adult respiratory distress syndrome. I didn't know why I had gotten so sick until Hoosier Action came to my door and said, there's contamination in your area, did you know? And of course, at that point, I became enthralled in it and very angry at the same time because my kids were sick. I have special needs children, and they were always in the hospital with lung infections and every weird rash and weird sickness you could think of. And the more I learned, the angrier I got. So we work with Hoosier Action to get the area cleaned up, with the EPA as well. And that was kind of my outreach with them. And now just trying to stay in the community and make sure that it is cleaned up. I still am sick from it, and so are my kids, but we were able to move from the area about a year ago, and we're slowly getting healthier, which is amazing. But there's still people who suffer from the contamination effects in the area, and they're still hurting. So trying to get people healthier and let them know that there is an issue in the area is really important to me. So just let legislators know that contamination is a big issue in our area, and we're not going anywhere, and what we want matters.
Thank you. Taylor?
Thank you, Tyla. That was very deep, and thank you for sharing with us. My name is Taylor. I am from Dyer, and I have bipolar disorder, I have type 2 bipolar disorder, but I have been having depression and depressive symptoms since I was 13 or 14, but I only got diagnosed with bipolar last year. When I first got my diagnosis, I was actually kind of glad because I thought, like, with a specific diagnosis, I could have more specific treatment and we would have a name for it, and you know, modern medicine is great. I was like, okay, we can like do this and everything. But it was not till the past couple months that I kind of realized that this is a disease that doesn't really go away completely. And when I figured this out, I was very devastated, and it felt like my life was over and that I couldn't really achieve all the things I wanted to achieve. And I felt like very powerless and just very upset over it. Bipolar, it's very it requires a lot of treatment if you want to get better. This is how many pills I have to take on a daily basis, and this is just for my bipolar disorder and not my other health issues. You know, like along with that, you have therapy, all that, it adds up. It's very expensive, especially for people who do not have insurance. It makes it very hard to get help and everything. So, I know a lot of other people who have mental health problems too. And because of the stigma, just the cultural stigma against mental illness and the lack of resources in our state, it's caused a lot of grief to people. Like a lot of people, including some people I know, have, came to using, substances that can be dangerous to them or even illegal. So it's like a lot of times, when this happens, when people people feel very lost and they feel like killing themselves, sometimes like we've had to call the police before, because that's the only person who can handle it, like at that moment. Like that's the only people that the government has really set aside to deal with things like this. And that can be, a very scary situation because there can be a lot of miscommunication on both parts. But I think, people need to keep in mind that we're all human beings. We all have, emotions. We all, experience the same things. And we, people like me, people like us should not be demonized for having, mental health disorders that we never wanted in the first place. And we're all just trying to get by. So I want the laws in Indiana to be more compassionate towards people with mental health and substance abuse problems, and work on not criminalizing people for these issues. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. That was really powerful. Thank you, Tyler and Taylor. We really do need legislators and legislation that looks out for us and our families. So again, if you're watching from Facebook Live and you want to share a story, put yourself in the chat. If this resonates with you, if you're experiencing these same situations, we want to hear from you. So our chat monitors will be dropping in links and you can find out how to join us. Okay, so I'm gonna now pass it to April and Joe. What are you guys bringing to the 2021 legislative session? April?
Hi, so I'm April from Martinsville. I can really relate to Tyler and Taylor on their stories. Living in Martinsville, we have the contaminated water here too. And I've lived in Martinsville for almost my whole life. I was diagnosed with postpartum depression this year, and my doctor said she wasn't surprised after everything I had went through. I have two daughters. One is 2 and the other one just turned 6 months. And during the pregnancy with my 6-month-old, I was diagnosed with a rare cancer that is rare, but there are also 6 other people in my town with this cancer, which makes me think that the water is definitely part of that. Anyway, I was diagnosed. So during my pregnancy, I had 3 surgeries total. Well, the C-section was one of them, but I had my gallbladder removed because I'd been having stomach issues with that. Then I had my C-section. Then I had to have my tumor removed. I've had several MRIs. I actually have my 4th CT scan tomorrow to see how it goes. I have been on chemotherapy pills since my surgery. I couldn't be on it while I was pregnant because it can cause too many issues, but that medicine is $10,000 a month, and I will be on it for the rest of my life. So if you want to do the math and add that up, it's a lot of money. I can't even imagine how much money that will be. And if I were to lose my Medicaid that I am on, I wouldn't be able to afford my medicine. I I don't know what would happen. That's my life-saving medicine. If I stop it, I have a 98% chance that my cancer will be back within 2 years. So I can't stop it. I lost my job during all of this because I was missing too much work. And then on top of that, there was pandemic and, my health was compromised already. So it's a lot to deal with. And with 2 young children at home, I know I'm not the only person in Indiana that is on Medicaid. I know that there are a lot of us that rely on that. We rely on WIC with only one income. So I am here for that. I don't want to see anybody else in my position, that could risk losing their medicine. So.
Thank you. Pastor Bradley?
Hi, my name is Joe Bradley. I'm a chaplain in Jeffersonville, Indiana, with Clark Memorial Health, formerly Clark Memorial Hospital. And by the way, I really appreciate what April and Taylor and Tyler were talking about. And by the way, I'm from Bloomington, grew up there, have been here in the southern Indiana area in New Albany and Jeffersonville, Indiana for about 15 years. But as a healthcare chaplain, I deal with all aspects of our hospital, not only the critical care and med-surg units, but also behavioral health. I lead spirituality in our behavioral health units, and I try to give folks some hope and encourage them to look to meaning and purpose to get through, help them in their recovery. And so, April with her postpartum depression, I've encountered many patients that really struggle with that. And Taylor and Tyler both dealing with your own issues. Tyler has a rare condition called EDS that my adult daughter has, which she still doesn't have a disability or anything like that. So she may be dependent on us for a long time. I have an adult son with Asperger's syndrome, so he also has some special needs. But as you know, we're in a pandemic, and I was furloughed for part of the year, but then was able to come back in August, and our healthcare workers they're burned out, and they're really having a hard time dealing with so much loss, so much death. Right now, we have more COVID patients in the ICU than I've ever seen, even though we have some hope with the vaccine now. I just got my second dose last week, so I'm grateful for that. I'm a one-person department, so I would like to be spending 90% of my time in the unit with the people that don't have long to live, and connecting them with their families via FaceTime or Zoom, because we have a tablet that I use for that purpose. And I put on all the PPE and kind of look like an alien from another planet when I have that stuff on. But at least it's a chance for family members to say goodbye, to say I love you. So this is so important. But yet yesterday I was called by someone in the community who was worried about his neighbor. He has an elderly couple that lives next door to him, and the woman broke her hip, so she's here at our hospital. But she's been taking care of her husband for all these years, and here he is confused and he has dementia. He can't even feed himself, so they're providing meals for him. So he's calling me as a way to try to reach out, see how we can get help for him. So I'm visiting with his wife, who herself she's going to be okay, set up with Medicare. So she's going to be placed in a facility, and she can no longer take care of him anyway. So it turned out to be a good story where we did get them both placed. But I guess the point was, it was like it takes a village. So many people were working with them on getting him to the hospital so he could get evaluated and then he could get placed. But he's one of many people that slipped through the cracks. And unless somebody intervenes, and he was fortunate to have a good neighbor. And then we got our care coordinator involved, and I got involved. I called their priest, got him involved. So hopefully everything's going to work out. But I keep thinking about the parable of the Good Samaritan that Jesus told about this man who is attacked by robbers and he's left bleeding on the side of the road. According to the parable, I guess he's a Jewish man. He was one of Jesus' own people. And then so a good priest and a Levite walk by on the other side of the road because they're on their way to church. They don't want to get involved. Plus, they just don't. And then, but a good Samaritan comes by and he sees this man and he has compassion on him and he takes him in and he takes him to an inn and he pays for his room and he said, "Here, let's take care of this man." Now he didn't stop and judge and say, "Does this guy deserve to be taken care of? Does he look like me? Does he think like me? Is he in my political party?" No, he didn't do that. He sees he's a fellow human being and he needs help. And so he reaches out. And I think that's the ground or the basis of what I'm doing, what I want to do. I want to help as many people as I can. And people are slipping through the cracks, everyday Hoosiers, and they do need help. So I would just encourage the legislators to keep that in mind, that we're all humans, we all need help, and don't let people slip through the cracks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for sharing with us. You guys have all shared such powerful stories and your lived experiences and what you're pushing to the center, and what our legislators need to know. And if you're watching on Facebook Live and these stories have resonated with you, we want you to be a part of this with us. These experiences are not one-off events. Like, we're all in this together and we're all experiencing this life together. And we can all experience like what it's like to have a beautiful, bright state and to have a future. If we are taking action, so we are this week, as a part of this launch to this legislative session, we're sending out a letter to every single legislator in our state. And there'll be a link dropped in the chat. If you want to take action with us, sign on to this letter, put who you are and your county. We want to show our legislators that we want to center our experiences at these decisions. We are important. Everyday Hoosiers and our lives matter. And we all deserve a life where we can get the care that we need, that we have a clean air and water, that we are not criminalized by our life situations and our mental health, that we deserve a caring state that looks out for all of us, and that we all deserve the opportunity to thrive and have a community that's thriving. So thank you everyone for speaking again. Again, Facebook Live, we really want more people to do this with us. We really want you in to build this big and bright and beautiful future that we can all have. So that's everything. Thank you. Thank you everyone for sharing, and have a great week. Everybody here and everyone on Facebook Live.
And keep sharing the Facebook Live on your Facebook pages. People can watch it afterwards too. Thank you, everyone.